Welcome to International Longevity Center India. Thank you for using our official YouTube channel. Kindly subscribe the channel and tap on the bell icon which is present below the video so that we can keep you updated.
Yes. Fine. Okay. So hello everyone. Greetings from International Longevity Center India. I welcome you all in this national level webinar series organized by ILCI with the CSR support of Garda Chemicals Limited. Today we have with us Dr. Nidhi Mishra, and she's going to talk about mental wellness of senior citizens, how to relax and manage stress. So let me introduce her now to you. Dr. Nidhi Mishra is currently working as Assistant Professor Applied Psychology at Geetham School of Gandhian Studies, Geetham, deemed to be University, Visakhapatnam. She has done her PhD in the area of psychosocial gerontology from the Department of Psychology, Center for Advanced Studies, Central University of Allahabad. She is the founder of Senior Express. She has worked in national and international research projects which focused on various psychosocial issues like health and well-being, environmental issues, identity and collective experiences, experiences of stigmatized and marginalized groups, aging issues, of course, and inclusive education. In addition to this, she has designed and conducted workshops and capacity building training programs for some prestigious organizations like Central Board of Secondary Education and United Nations Population Fund, that is UNFPA, India, on various academic and social issues. She has represented India in the United Nations International Programme in Policy Formulation, Planning, Implementation and Monitoring of Madrid International Plan of Action on Aging, that is MIPA, at Malta in 2013. She has worked as a consultant at Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai, and for UNFPA Aging Project in India. Also, she has extensive experience of working in social and developmental sector, where she has mainly involved in designing action-based projects for the welfare of elderly and special children. She is a member of Association of Gerontology in India and in the Indian Association for Social Sciences and Health. So, welcome, ma'am, and I request you now to begin the session. Thank you.
Thanks, Ishita. And I would also like to thank ILC for organizing this series of webinars. Not only this one, but I have been watching the other webinars which have happened earlier. And I must say they are like very need based, very much required by the senior citizens. Not only just senior citizens, it's like it's very useful for all of us. As a gerontologist, I strongly believe in maintenance of mental wellness and mental health of people, of senior citizens especially. That is the reason why I chose this topic today. And before talking about, let me just first share my screen so that you can have a look at my PPT. Before talking about how you will work on that, how you will develop your, you will manage your stress, how you can relax. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
So before talking about what and how, I would also like to highlight the why. Why are we discussing about it right now? So, as Yashoda has mentioned, that for the past 15 years, I have been extensively working in this area, and I have been working on promoting healthy and productive aging or graceful aging. And here you can see some examples which are mentioned. Which I'm trying to show these examples through the means of pictures. And by the way, these are not taken from any of the YouTube sites or any of social media sites. These are all pictures of my senior friends, my senior colleagues, with whom I have extensively worked when I was full time handling Senior Express, and now also they are very good friend of mine. What I'm trying to depict here, what I'm trying to highlight here, that even in the pandemic time, the current time when all of us are struggling with how to maintain our health and well-being, these are the people, and there are many more who are associated with us still. They are the one who are trying to manage and maintain their health and well-being. And so that's the reason why mental wellness is so important, because I feel this is a key to your graceful aging. This is the key to maintenance of healthy, productive, active aging. And when we talk about active aging, we talk about three things. The World Health Organization talks about three things. These are security, how secure a person feel, how secure a senior citizens feel, not only just economically but physically and psychologically also. How active the person is. Participation is very important. How much they are active. Still, they are actively working on certain things. Even in the pandemic time, there are many seniors like you look here in this picture. This lady on the top is actually still taking dancing classes online. This gentleman, the two people, the couple you see down, are still entertaining their grandchildren at home through different means because they are getting bored at home. This lady who is wearing a Pinkerton ambassador t-shirt, she is not able to go and do beach cleaning which she used to do, and she was running for marathon, but still she is sitting at home and she is trying to be a volunteer for plasma donations. So similarly, top you can see this gentleman who is a doctor who is still trying to help in his best way as to how he can help people to maintain their health and well-being. So what I'm trying to highlight here is this mental wellness or mental health is a very important topic for me as a gerontologist, also as a psychologist, that these things will not only help in the maintenance of health and well-being of these senior citizens but for the society at large, because the third pillar which is very important for active aging is the contribution. How much are they contributing, how much are they participating in their well-being and the well-being of the society. So that's why this is very much related to what World Health Organization defines mental health as. World Health Organization says that mental health is a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities. So these are the people, these are the senior citizens whom you have seen. They are the example of graceful aging. They are the one who are realizing their abilities. They are coping with the normal stresses of life in their own innovative way. Okay, we have to sit at home, we can't go out much. Okay, we are going out but we have to use certain precautions. Still they have coped well with this situation. They know how to normally live with this with this new normal now, and they are still working productively and fruitfully. And not only they are working on their health, they are also contributing in the maintenance and well-being of the community's health and well-being. So this definition of mental health is very much close to the definition of graceful aging, healthy aging, active aging, productive aging. These are all synonymous terms which we use for positive aging. And let's move on to the point that why is mental health of senior citizens so important. Let's focus on certain facts because all of us feel that it's important, but let's look into the grave reality of certain facts as well. Now here I'm talking more from a psychologist perspective than a gerontologist, because it has been found, we do a lot of research, we find out that it is negatively impacting the quality of life and self-esteem of seniors. So the quality of life which is there, or the self-esteem, the worthiness which they feel about themselves, if they are mentally ill, if they are not mentally fit, it is impacting their quality of life. 70% of the doctor visit is actually due to mental health related issues. But unfortunately, they are going to doctors and they are going for physical symptoms which are actually happening. These are psychosomatic symptoms happening because of mental health issues. So it is such a grave issue, but often ignored. It increases because of mental health issues. Mostly people are suffering from physical health problem. So it actually the mental health problem is further increasing the physical health problem. As I said, psychosomatic problems like migraines, tumors, ulcers, all these things are mostly psychosomatic in nature, which is the major cause is psychological than physical. Suicide is a major concern. In this, during the first wave, we have heard so many senior citizens have committed suicide. It's also because of the mental health issues. it is a big barrier to active and graceful aging. As I initially mentioned, that maintenance of mental health is so important in the maintenance of active and graceful aging. So here are some facts which I shared with you. Now, coming to the point that how we can maintain our mental health, especially how senior citizens can maintain their mental health. For maintenance of mental health, there are four dimensions, four aspects which are very important, and the researchers done over the period of time have emphasized on this. Apart from that, apart from the research part, as a practitioner, I also emphasize on these four dimensions, because I have been practicing this in my counseling sessions, in my therapy sessions with seniors. These are the emotional resources. If we really want to maintain a good mental health, first and foremost is the emotional resource, how emotionally strong we are. And that emotional resource can be maintained through high self esteem, through emotional intelligence. People who are emotionally intelligent are the one who are much more stronger in their emotional resources, in the way they maintain their mental health. Now, what is emotional intelligence? I'm sure some of you must be knowing about it. Some of you may not be very clear about it. So let's highlight here what it is. Emotionally intelligent people are those people who are very well aware of their emotions. They are able to not only control and regulate their emotion, but they are very good at empathizing with others. They are able to understand their emotions as well. They are able to regulate their behavior, they are able to control their behavior, they are able to time manage their aspects, their behavior, their activities, day-to-day life activities. They are the one who are very well managing the social life as well. So emotional resources are very important for maintenance of mental health. Second thing which is very important is the cognitive resources. And when we talk about cognitive resources, these are basically their self efficacy, efficient they feel they are in dealing with in the situations around, how well they are able to keep their mind active. All those things are very important in terms of maintenance of mental health. Then comes the social skills, how socially active people are nowadays. Many senior citizens are facing issues as to how sitting at home we can maintain our social life. And now this is what ILC is doing, is one of the way in which people can maintain their social life as well and work on their social skills. Lot of online dance programs are happening, competitions are happening. So all these ways are the way in which social skill can also be maintained. And then last but not the least is the meaningful and purposeful life, how well people are maintaining the purpose of their life, how well they are contributing to the society. Not only, like as I said about that lady, how well she is still sitting at home, she is very actively working as a volunteer for plasma donation coordination. So this is the meaning and purpose of life. This is also the one of the way of maintenance of mental health. Now, another important thing, which I always say, I always suggest people, even World Health Organization emphasizes on this a lot, that the first key to positive mental health is that people should talk, should not avoid talking to people. This is a very simple step, but often people feel, okay, this is my problem. Why should I bother about talking to someone? And what happens? Penting up those things, keep on waiting for that thing to become a severe problem, and then they have to go to a counselor or a therapist or a psychiatrist. And to be very honest, still going to a to a therapist or a counselor or a psychiatrist is still a taboo for many people. Still, our society has not accepted this so well. So many people, even if they want to go and talk to someone for help, there is a lot of stereotype being attached to it. My sincere request to all people, if you know someone around you who is having such kind of issue, first step you can take is to talk to them. Or maybe if you have certain issues which you feel that you're overwhelmed with, that first step could be to talk to people about your feelings, about your emotions. Why is that so important? First of all, it's the emotional bonding, because it has been found, researches have been done, and it has been found that loneliness or feeling socially isolated is one major factor which is related to feeling of depression, and which further leads to suicidal tendencies in people. So emotional bonding is something which comes up when people start talking to others. Catharsis is another thing which is, we psychologists, when we do our sessions, we emphasize on these things, like, how you are talking to someone, you're taking your pent up feelings, either you're crying, you're talking, you're sharing, and in that way there's a catharsis. You're trying to come out of that issue which was bothering you. You openly sharing with someone. So catharsis is another positive point which is related to talking and sharing your feeling with someone. And third point is positive thinking. Once you have formed a bond with someone, once you have shared your feelings, you start feeling lighter. It's a way, it opens a way for you to think positively, and then you stop thinking negatively about things. It will not happen in a day, it may not happen in a month, it may not happen in a year, it may take many years. We have clients with whom we have to sit for many, more than a year to do counseling and have several sitting. But it is not hopeless situation, because the problem is, the more people try to curb their feeling, they allow themselves to, okay, let me regress my feeling, the more they will repress it, the more situation will come, they will start becoming negative about themselves, the more it will impact their mental health. So my sincere suggestion to everyone is, the first step is to talk to someone. And these are the positive, the advantages which you can see talking to someone, or someone next to you needs a help. Please go ahead and talk to them so that you can help them in this way. Now, here are many people ask me often in my sessions. People keep asking me. That's the reason I have put this slide. That what are the symptoms of negative mental health? How should I understand that? Okay, now I am not in a good mental state. My health is at I'm vulnerable to be mentally disturbed, and how I can work on my positive mental health. So what are the warning signs for me? The warning signs are these three signs, which I have been, as I said, that based on research also, and my years of practice in this field also, I'm sharing with you that these are the three warning signs which are there. One is the feeling of anxiety. If there is overwhelming feeling of anxiety all the time, you're so anxious that you're not able to sleep, you're not able to eat, you're not able to drink, all the time something is bothering you in your head, and you are overwhelmed with that anxiousness, then it's a sign that you are suffering from negative mental. Another is that low self-esteem. Despite of all your achievements, people might be praising you for your efforts, or people may not be praising you for your efforts, but you deserve it. But you lack that self-appraisal. You just feel so low about yourself. You feel that, okay, I am not worthy of doing anything. So that is another sign of low mental health. And the third one is the coping issues. So you are not able to cope well with the issues, the problem. There are different types of coping which we use. Something which is a problematic coping which people often use is avoidance. Okay, let me wait, when this time will come, then I'll work on this issue. Okay, this issue is bothering me, there is some kind of tussle between me and someone else, and let me leave it to the time, and then it will get resolved. No, this is avoidance, this is not the right way. Approach is the right way, and there are different ways how you can approach the situation as well. There is sometimes a problem focused coping, where you're focusing on the problem. Okay, let me sit with that person one to one level, talk about this. Communication is the best way of dealing with any situation. But if you feel the other person is so adamant and very egoistic according to you, and you're not able to deal with that person, there's another way of coping which is called problem focused emotion focused coping, which is you're focusing on your emotions. okay, let me listen to some relaxing music, let me work on my emotion, let me learn to say no for certain things, if I don't want to say yes for certain things. So these are certain ways in which you can learn certain kind of coping. So as I said, that please avoid avoidance coping techniques, because avoidance, the more you're avoiding the situation, the more bigger pile of problem will come next to you, and then you will not be left with solving it at your own level. You have to take professional help. So if you really want to solve things at your own level, please communicate, please talk to people, please see these warning signs and work on these things. Now, another important thing why I would like to emphasize here before talking about certain techniques of managing stress, which I seriously want to share with people around me, is this, that initially only I mentioned that there is so much of taboo being attached to it. There is so much of stereotypes being attached to, myth attached to people, like going to a professional, seeking professional help for something like wherein they are facing some family problem or intergenerational issue problem or personal problem. Sometimes it's an existential crisis also. Sometimes they are not able to live the life positively. So there are many people who are facing certain type of problem, and please don't become a doctor yourself. Please don't wait for time that it will get solved by someone, or please don't look for help of someone who is not trained. Someone wrote very nice lines, I read someplace, that do you ever go to a person, any XYZ, and get your surgery done? Or do you ever go to someone XYZ and ask someone to fight for your case? You will look for a lawyer or you will look for a surgeon, right? So why for psychological professional help? Why you go to any random people? Why you become a psychologist yourself? Please, we are trained into this, we have ample training into it, and that's my suggestion, is there is no taboo, there is no problem, nobody will tag you as a mental case if you go to a psychologist. But you can work on your mental health if you go and see a professional help. In counseling, when we have, in especially in the case of aging related issues, we have person centered counseling, like someone who is having certain kind of cognitive problems. So we go for cognitive behavior therapies, wherein we try to work on their cognitive issues which they have, and try to work on the negative problems which they have with turn it into a positive thing. So mostly it's like a cognitive restructuring. So like normally the very easy example I tell people is impossible, and then someone says I am possible, right? So it's the same thing. So if you but many people need multiple sessions to work on these things. It's very easy to say these type of things, but when someone is in a problem, they will never be able to understand these things. So another type of sessions for which counseling is very popular among seniors is the interpersonal issues. So intergenerational problems which are there, between issues between generations. So once I had a case with maintaining the confidentiality. I'm just sharing this this case here. That there was a lady who was consistently anxious all the time. As I shared these three, I'm keeping these 3 points also in mind, and then I'm sharing that example so that it will be easier for people to understand. There was this lady who was all the time consistently anxious, and she was not able to when someone used to talk to her, she used to fight with them, she used to have issues with them, she used to say certain nasty things to them which people never liked. And so she came to me and we had a couple of sessions, and slowly it came out that she is not able to communicate her feeling to the people around, to her family, to her children. And because of that, she has become, she was piling up those things inside her, which started affecting her mental health and which started affecting her life around. So interpersonal issues are very much important to be resolved, and the professionals, the counselors are experts in that. They can very well deal with that. uh, in case of person centered counseling, again there was someone who was an example of low self esteem. This lady, she lost her husband around 10 years ago. She was living with her sister, and she felt that, she is not wanted in that family because she had no kids, and the sister's kids were not behaving very nicely to her. And she thought she used to come for sessions, and she used to sit, and it took a lot of sessions to first make her so her self-esteem was so low that it took a lot of sessions to make her first understand that she is worthy of being respected. And then I made her realize what her hobbies are, where she can work on. She used to cook very nicely, and now after that, once I remember, she bought some food for me as well as a thankful gesture. And when I ate her, and I just gave a suggestion, why don't you start something, tiffin service for youngsters? And then she was not very confident about it. Slowly, slowly, she realized, okay, with a couple of sessions and other things, I had to convince her to start her own tiffin services. And now she is very successfully running her own tiffin service for youngsters, for people who are working in offices, or college students. So these are things which, sometimes it will not come on its own. You need some professional help for that. That's what I'm trying to emphasize. Positive living is another way of, sometimes people lose their interest in, especially in this pandemic time. Many senior citizens are facing a lot of issues as to how they can keep themselves positive, how they can be active. So as I said that I work with Senior Express as a volunteer. I'm working with many of the senior citizens, and we talk, and we have certain sessions where we discuss certain issues, and so that it can inculcate more positive values in them. Existential issue is another thing. This is the stage where people are facing a lot of emptiness syndrome because the kids have moved to some other cities or some other country, or people are busy with their own life. Earlier, the life which was there for their children, now they are all alone. So how they can spend that time? And sometimes many, especially many ladies, they undergo a lot of existential issues, existential crisis, identity crisis. So for that also, professional help is very much required. And as I said, that at one level people can work, but please, if you feel that you are not, it is not under your control, you should look for professional help. Now, there are certain, in short, if someone wants to work on positive mental health, maintaining positive mental health, there are certain ways in which it can be maintained. And again, based on my years of experience in this field, I am just mentioning it here, not taking any tips from anywhere else. Basically, participation in activities, whether it's online activities, offline activities, positive relationship, maintaining good relationship with family members or with friends and with colleagues. Physical health is another important thing. If the physical health is not good, psychological will definitely suffer. Financial security, if someone is not financially secure, how will they able to, maintain their physical and social well-being? That is also there. Another important thing which often people ignore is the elder friendly environment. So how friendly the environment is, how friendly the society in which they are living is, how friendly the building in which they are living is, how architecturally relevant it is for the senior citizen, how psychologically and socially relevant it is for the senior citizen. So all those things are also very important. So if someone is, if someone as a senior a family member or senior citizen is looking for a house, they have to keep these things in mind, that the society should be elder friendly. Another important thing on which I am focusing, which I'll be discussing now with you, is practice mindfulness. And before I begin, I would like to know that how many of you are actually practicing mindfulness in your life, and are you aware of this technique or not? I'll be stop sharing it for a while, and I would like to see people and ask this question. How many of you are actually practicing mindfulness in your life? Are you aware of what mindfulness is?
Okay, we are getting raised hands.
Okay. People are raising their hand. Okay.
Phule sir and Prabhakar ma'am. Yeah.
Okay.
The first thing, mindfulness is I follow two things. One is be 100% in the present. That is what we call it power of now. Be 100% present in what you are doing,
Yes.
even eating food or even listening to your program. It should be the mindfulness of that. That is why you can get the full rewards of what is happening. The second aspect is not to dwell too much on criticism by other people.
Right. Yeah. Good. I think it's a very excellent answer. So, Phule sir, are you practicing this in your life? How much are you practicing it?
Of course,
On
I
a
am
five-point
practicing.
rating scale, let me ask
3.
you.
Yeah, you can put out of 5, 3.
See, out of 5, 3,
Yeah,
despite of being fully aware of very well, he has explained the concept of mindfulness. So that's what I would like to highlight in today's session now, in this part of session, that
thank
though
you,
we
Nidhi.
know what mindfulness is, right? Forget about if you don't know. Some people are sending me messages saying that I'm not aware of this terminology, I'm not aware of this thing. But you know one thing, right? Everyone talks about be in the present, live in the present. Now ask yourself, honestly ask yourself, how much do we live in the present? How much do we live in the present? I can tell you n number of stress management techniques, but none of them will work until and unless we will start with the mindfulness exercise. And I know people, as I said, I know people through means of Senior Express, that there are many senior citizens who are very actively practicing this, who are doing it even in the pandemic time. And these are the people who have managed to survive mentally, I must say, in this tough time, right? So, one thing which is very important for us is to assess ourselves, how much are we practicing it? How much are we living in the present? Very well explained by Phule sir that yes, mindfulness is about how much are we living in the present. And there's a reason why we say live in the present. Why, what present has to do with the stress? Because present also, we can be in the present, you can be in the session and you can be stressed, like what I'm talking about that as well, right? But what is important here is that you're not getting distracted with the things around. At least you are aware of where you are, what you are doing. At least if we can practice it for once, let's do some very easy mindfulness activity for all of us. Look at your hand. Okay, I want you to look at your palm, not hand. Look at your palm. Okay, and after that I would like to hear from all of you. Just look at it. I will not give you any instructions, and I want every one of you to do that. Then I will, after, look at it for a second, and then I'll shoot my questions to you. Please look at it the way you want. Okay, I'll wait for a second, and then I'll ask this question. Okay, Anita ma'am, I can see you. You are looking at your palm, with lot of, as if you're admiring, loving, in a very, in a very full of love. I can see that compassion in you when you're looking at your palm. When did you actually did it earlier?
Looking at my hand,
Yes,
I do
your
it.
palm or hand.
I do it very often, and I'm
Yeah.
noticing the change that is happening over time.
Yes.
And I have come to realize that a lot of effort has been put in through these hands. So some amount of muscle wastage has also happened, and the number of wrinkles have increased.
Okay.
But that doesn't
Very
make me sad. It makes me very satisfied that I've been able to do this kind of work.
Yeah, nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing such wonderful experience. Yes, anyone else would like to share their experience after looking at their palm? Yes, Pulesa?
I always look at the palm and think about it. Is it really as per the palm that my luck is going, life is going, or the lines are changing as I go in my life? Right?
Okay.
I do
Yeah.
not get governed by the lines on my hand because it is the extra skin and it has to have wrinkles somewhere or the other. As Anita has said, wrinkles, yes, that speaks the experience.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else would like to share their experience
Yes,
after they
yes,
saw their palm?
yes,
Yes, sir. Yes.
yes.
Yes, Balarav sir.
Yeah.
I feel that today shaving is left. Shaving is
Today?
left.
Today shaving is
Shaving
left.
is left.
Okay.
We
You
have to
missed
do
out
tomorrow.
something. Okay.
That feeling.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
fresh. It will look fresh if I do shave.
Okay.
That is my feeling.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Please feel
Yes.
free to share. The more the
Yeah.
responses, the more I'll get food for thought. Yes.
Kamal ma'am,
I
yes.
I just want to say that you made us realize कि भाई what we want to do, everything is with us. The power is in our hands, you know. So I don't know. Most of the time, I don't actually look at them. So you made me realize that whatever we want to do is within us. The potential is within us.
I haven't
So
made you
that's a nice
realize
thing.
yet. My point is coming now. Yeah. In fact,
Okay,
you gave me good
okay,
food for thought. Yeah. I haven't made you realize yet. Wait for that climb, that particular part. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else, please?
I looked at my mehendi because I did it. It was Nag Panchami yesterday, so there is this tradition. So I was looking at my mehendi for just few more
Okay.
seconds. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Anyone else? No? Last observation, last sharing. Anyone would like to share?
Can I share?
Yes, please.
Um, I'm Aarti Agarwal. So,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah. So, 2 days back, I got a little hurt on my left palm, the ring finger and the little base of the palm. Okay. So, when I
Yeah.
was just looking at my palm, even a little small hurt also anywhere, it creates the pain in the whole palm, you know. So that is the observation that, you know, the fingers are all different sizes, but every finger has its role to play, you know. Even if there is, we take our fingers and our hands so much for granted. Like yesterday when I had to cook only with the right hand. So I could feel the pressure coming on the right hand. So
Okay.
this is my observation that, you know, every little part of the body, your finger, nails, everything plays vital role.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Fule sir, you told us the definition of mindfulness, right? And I think it was very well explained. Now tell me, including your response and everyone's response who shared it right now, do you think all of you practice mindfulness?
No, it is. That's why I said I gave only 60% of the credit because most of the
Yes.
time, or rather, sometime you are just swinging into forward and backward, past and future, which it doesn't serve the purpose. Future,
Yeah.
you do not know anything, so there is no fun in dwelling on that. And
Right.
past, nothing can be done because you have to
Right.
just forget about it. It has happened,
Right.
gone. That's
Right.
what I feel.
Right. So none of you have actually you made a very nice realization. All of you, 5, 6 people who shared, thank you so much. The realization was about yourself, but none of you practice mindfulness. You know why? Because the practice was to look at your palm. Okay, and I'm looking at my palm, I'm looking at the lines which are there, I'm looking at my fingers. My purpose is not to interpret the lines which are there. Okay, yes, Anjali ma'am.
I just wanted to share with you. I mean, I
Yeah,
didn't think I should be doing it, but now
yeah,
you're speaking about it. I was
yeah.
looking at my palm intently, with a
Hmm.
view to, you asking us questions about it, how many lines, whatever it is. I really didn't
Yeah,
think about, all what Anita said or Phule sir said or Aarti
yeah,
Agarwal said. So I
yeah,
was like, okay, there are, we have three divisions over here. I forget the name for that. How
yeah,
many lines? That was what I was
yeah,
focusing on. So I don't
yes,
know if that is mindfulness. If
yes.
that could be constituted as mindfulness. This is just
That
a
is again
suggestion.
not mindfulness. Why? Because you looked at your palm just for the sake of answering my questions because you
Yes.
thought I will be asking. So what mindfulness is? Be in the present. That's the reason I wanted to do this exercise. Because often we feel we live in the present, like Fules are aware of mindfulness definition, everything is there. But he himself accepts that 60% he is not practicing it. That is the thing. The first step to manage your stress is be mindful first. The thing is, how many of you like Alfonso mango? I am missing it ever since I left Maharashtra. So it's a good thing that here I am getting nice variety of mangoes in Vishakhapatnam, but I miss it. How many of you love Alfonso mango and you eat? How much how much you enjoy and eat?
Thoroughly,
How much you
thoroughly.
Every time, every
thoroughly?
year. Yes.
Is it like sometimes when you're eating, you think, okay, this one is better than the last one, or the last one was better than this one? That kind of thing comes in your mind? Or is it like you just enjoy the sweetness of that mango? If you really enjoy the sweetness of that mango, if you really enjoy the flavor of that mango, without comparing that sweetness, without comparing that flavor with any other mango which you had earlier, that is what mindfulness is. You are in the present. If you have experienced a bit of this, what I'm saying right now, then you should be patting your back because you have practiced mindfulness at that moment. You were with that mango, you were enjoying that mango at that moment. Right now, everyone, either you were looking at your palm because either you wanted to answer my question, or because you are appreciating the wrinkles which you have, or maybe because you were thinking, okay, I have put in so much of efforts, my hands are doing so many things for us, you are appreciating, my hand got hurt. It's okay, you are appreciating the effort done by your hand, but you are in the process of interpretation, you are doing judgments, you are using your perceptions, you are practicing your cognitions, you are bringing in your emotions as well. You are not with your palm at that moment. You know, that is what mindfulness is. Yes, Phule sir?
Basically, people are in a habit of, even analyzing the food that they take.
Hmm.
And they keep on asking or thinking whether this rice is really good, is it coarse, is it fine, is it
Yes,
basmati, it is with chawal and whatnot, instead of enjoying the rice.
yes,
And with the sambar, they will keep thinking they are not added turmeric to the extent, they are not added jaggery to it extent, and all those
right,
things. So
right,
probably you get depressed with that.
right,
That's for
right,
nothing.
right. So even it could be this session. If I'm with you, I'm talking to you, right? Right? I'm talking to you. But if I'm, thinking, okay, after this session, maybe I'm feeling very sleepy. I need a cup of coffee. I can see Phule sir is having nice coffee. Maybe I'm missing it out, and my brain is somewhere else. And I'm there present in the session, very, physically I'm present here, but mentally I'm present somewhere else. That is not mindfulness. So, my sincere suggestion to all of you who have come here with some expectation, okay, we will be practicing some stress management techniques. Definitely, there are ample of stress management techniques which I can tell you. But the first step where you will need nobody's guidance is the mindfulness. And it must start with you, because the moment, and why it is related to stress management? Can someone tell me why being in the present is related to stress management? if you were actually with your palm at that moment, yes, you are not thinking about what is happening around the world. For a second, you are free of stress. You're free of the news coming about pandemic. You're free of the problems which might be because of certain economical issues. You're free of the problems because of certain, issue with your office, your family. For a second, you are just be with yourself. It's actually a me time. When we talk about the me time, how many of us actually work on me time? How many of us, this mindfulness can be just sipping a cup of tea and being with yourself. So mindfulness is very much related to your me time, where you are just being with yourself. You're not thinking about anything else. Because the moment the cognition, emotion, interpretation, and other things will come in your life, it is a way to stress, right? So let's look into some of the mindfulness exercises also. I wasn't some to be very honest, this group is quite interactive. I really like that, and I'm glad that I met this interactive group here, because I wasn't sure that whether people will be interactive or not. So I've prepared, I've listed some activities which can be done to which you can through which you can practice mindfulness. So let's list them up here. I'm just listing them up here. I'll just share. I hope you can see my slide. Can
Yes,
someone
ma'am.
say yes? Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Yes.
So this picture I've intentionally put here. I've not taken it from web. This is another gentleman, Mr. Pandey. He's a retired scientist from Bhava Atomic Research Center, and is now full time into practicing mindfulness, yoga, and meditation. So he keeps sending me about what he is doing in this field, and I thought, who will be the best example than him? So, again, for a quick recap, for people who still want to understand this concept of mindfulness, this is basically our ability to be fully present and aware of where we are and what we are doing, and not reactive or overwhelmed by what going on around us. So whether my hand helped me in surviving, whether my hand is helping me in shaving my beard today, or whether my hand is helping me in cooking, whether my hand got hurt, whether I have to give answer to the question and I have to look at my palm, all this thing is not mindfulness. Mindfulness is you are just looking at your palm, you are looking at different parts. If what Anjali ma'am has done, she has actually practiced. If she would have done that without keeping in mind that she has to answer my question, then I will say that's the best mindfulness exercise which she has done. But because she did it just to answer my question, then it's not mindfulness. So I think this is the best. This is one of the explanation I gave for how to practice mindfulness. Experts say there are different. People now ask me, like, there are certain guided mindfulness exercises as well, which is not possible for everyone to do, because every time some expert is not available. But the very common type of mindfulness exercise which any of you can do sitting at home, especially in this time, is these five. The first one is body scanning. I'm sure those of you who have done yoga or who are practicing yoga, you must be aware of shavasana. So where you are relaxing, or progressive muscle relaxation, where you are actually relaxing each part of your body muscles, and while you are relaxing, you are becoming aware of those body parts. You're moving from head to toe, and then you are getting slowly aware of these parts. And in this process, you're not getting distracted. Just think about that palm exercise which I gave you. You're just looking at the palm, you're looking at the palm, you're admiring the palm. You're not interpreting, you're not judging. By the way, this is not an easy exercise. Though you can do it sitting at home, you need years of practice to practice mindfulness in real sense. And Phule sir has also told us about this, that he is aware of this, but still he assesses himself that he's 60% do practicing it in reality. So even if you will be knowing it, it will take you a lot of time to practice that. So today I'll be doing some guided imagery exercise with you, which will also help you in understanding or practicing a part of mindfulness. Another important thing is mindful seeing. like what I just told you. Look at your palm and look at what parts of the palm you have and what you're looking at. Different lines are there, fingers are there. You're just simply looking. Or maybe you can sit at one place and look outside, because these days when we are not easily going out, we can look at the window. If it's green outside, look at the trees, look at the bird chirping, look at them, just look at them. Why you're looking? Because you should appreciate the color, the texture, the sound. Don't interpret it there. That's very tough exercise, not to interpret that it's a sparrow, or this is this papaya tree, or this is neem tree. Don't interpret anything, just admire the beauty around yourself. Then mindful listening. Mindful listening is like most of you who are very attentive, or if you have ever nowadays, I mean, when I'm teaching my students, this mindful listening is a difficult task, especially for students. They complain that, ma'am, every time we have Zoom classes, but what to do? We can't do much. So online classes are there, and most of them, many of the students who are very actively participating in the classes, they are the one who are actually doing mindful listening. So they are listening to each and every word, open to communication. The beauty about mindful listening is you're making the other person realize their worth as well. Along with your worthiness, you're making the other person realize their worth, to work on their self-esteem. If they're losing something, at some point, if they're losing certain confidence, you're helping them to gain that confidence by lending your ear to them, by saying that, okay, I am there to listen to you, but not be judgmental, not be interpreting. Again, as I said, we are human beings, we end up judging people. But this is a tough exercise, and psychologists are trained into all these things. We have to do sessions with people, counseling sessions, where we should not judge people. If we are ever judging people, then it's not the right counseling, right therapy which we have done. So that is very important, and it will come with time. Mindful breathing. Sometimes if you don't want to do any of the exercise, just sit, look at the wall around, look at the room around you, and then just inhale, exhale, and just focus on this exercise. Focus on your breathing. Another very important thing, if these things look very tough for you, you can work on the five senses exercises. Five senses exercises are, first think of, it could be a game also, you can play like a game as well, where you can just sit at one place, think of five things which you can see around yourself. Think of four things which you can hear but not interpret, not judge. And especially the five things which you are seeing, you're not judging and interpreting, you're just seeing, like how you see your palm. Four things which you just hear around yourself and not interpret. Okay, this is a shriek sound, this is that sound, this is a child is crying next to me, that kind of thing should not be there. Just appreciate the sound around yourself. Don't interpret, don't get into the judgment part. Three things which you can taste, two things which you can touch, one thing which you can talk about. So you can change this exercise, like this five could be tasting, four could be seeing. So this is like a five senses game sort of, which you can even sit and play with people around you. So any questions here before we move on to doing some exercise? I just thought we can do some guided imagery exercise. Any question here?
Hello.
Yeah, we have last 5 minutes. So for 2
Hello.
minutes. Yes.
Hello. It is like
Yes, sir.
Vipassana. Vipassana is also one of the sort of this.
Vipassana, sir, is very different. Vipassana is like, it's like practicing where you're trying to practice self-control and things like that. It might open a way for mindfulness, but it is not exactly related to mindfulness. Mindfulness is, for Vipassana, it's a very tough exercise for normal people like us. It needs a lot of, challenges. You have to control certain things. You have to let go certain things. If for 10 days you're not you are not in touch with people, you're not seeing your mobile phones, This is what I'm telling you. You can be sitting at your home, you can touch your mobile phone, you can talk to people, but these are simple exercises which you can do at home, sitting at home, whenever time you have, whatever time you have. Okay, so quickly for last 2 minutes, I would like to end this session with a stress-free way. Yes, so I would we will be doing some guided imagery exercise, and as the name suggests, guided imagery, so there should be someone who is guiding you as to how you will be doing it. Okay, so Yashoda, can I request you to please switch on the music?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And I would request everyone to please be very mindful in listening to my instructions, and practice mindful imagination. I want you to do that.
Ma'am, 1 second.
Yeah.
Ma'am, can you listen to this?
No, I'm not able to hear.
No.
No? Okay, let me. I think very light I can hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Raise the volume.
Increase the volume, I think then it will be.
Yes, I've raised the volume. I request you to raise at your place also.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Even if the music is not there, you just listen to what I am saying. It will be a good exercise of mindful listening as well. Right? I would request all of you to close your eyes. Please follow the instructions. It's a very good way of exercising some relaxation. Using your imagination, especially at such a time, and especially in this pandemic time when we don't have the freedom to go out and go to a beach or go to and sit in a park or meet people around us. We can sit at home and practice this. Close your eyes. Think of a beach, a beautiful beach. Think as if you are going and sitting on the sand there. Sand is quite, when you touch it, the texture is very nice, because after a very long time you got the opportunity to go out and spend that wonderful time with yourself at a beach. Now you're also listening to the beautiful sound of the breeze. You're able to hear the sound of the breeze as well, which is flowing there. And now what you hear is there's a tree next to you, and the trees, the sound of the rustling sound of the leaves you can also hear. And this water is flowing. There's a wave which is coming to you. It's a very mild wave, but the wave has touched your feet, and that touch of that wave have actually made you feel so relaxed, because that coldness which is there in that water somewhere making you relaxed as well inside. It is taking away all your stress. It is taking away all the anger, all the frustration, all the irritation which has been there with you for a long period of time. This water is cold, and this water has brought in so much of precious, beautiful feeling, memory in you of your childhood, when as a child you used to move around and enjoy life. Just be there in that moment for a second, and once you have fully experienced it for a second, let's come back to the reality. Slowly, slowly, this wave is moving back. You can still hear the bird sound, chirping of the bird sound. You can still hear the rustling sound of the leaves. But it is time when we have to live in reality. So I've enjoyed this imagination, this beautiful imagination, and let me come back to the reality again and live with what I have and be thankful for what I have. Please take your time, come back. How was it?
Nice.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Wonderful? Okay,
Wonderful.
good.
Engrossing.
Sorry?
Engrossing.
Yeah, good. Very good. I'm glad that you all enjoyed it.
Yes.
And with this, we have come to the end of today's session. Thank you very much for your active participation, I must say. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Nadi. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Anjali ma'am, just I request you to conclude the session. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Nidhi, for giving us this really nice feeling of well-being right now. I think most of us were kind of relaxing. It was too short a bit. I think we could have relaxed a bit more. But truly thankful to you, Nidhi, for being here and helping us out. Some of the few points that I think really helped us would be this point about mindfulness, what exactly it constitutes, you know, and not letting your perceptions, your interpretations, or cognitions hamper or impact being aware of the present. That mindfulness, this concept of mindfulness, I think, has come clear to most of us, hopefully, and how important it is to talk, to communicate with each other. I think the present pandemic has kind of highlighted that a great deal because we do feel good. Why do we participate in these webinars? Why do we try to stay in touch with each other through virtual means is essentially because we feel the need for talking, for communication, and in these times of being away from people, being isolated, I think the importance of communicating with each other is very important. I really would like to thank you for taking time out of your real busy schedule, your classes, and doing things for us, which will help us, I'm sure, all of us, to get rid of our stress and manage our mental well-being, definitely. So thank you to all the participants, and we look forward to your presence for our next webinar session, where we'll be having Dr. I think Kamal Shigli, who'll be speaking about dental health of the elderly. We look forward to that session as well, and thank you so much, Nidhi. Take care, everyone. Stay well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
seniors, for joining, and thank you, Dr. Nidhi. Okay,
Thank
see you.
Thank
Bye.
Yeah.